You're listening to XOXO Famira, the podcast for visionaries, truth tellers, and empire builders who are done performing, shrinking, and sleepwalking through their purpose. This is where soul meets strategy, where your brand becomes spiritual technology, and where you finally wake up from your spiritual amnesia and remember who the hell you are. I'm your host, Famira, head dream walker in charge, business oracle, owner, and your brand transformation guide. I am the alchemist, and every episode is a permission slip to move with clarity, confidence, and command. Let's get into it. Let's cut through the noise. If your brand needs you to perform to prove its power, it's not a brand, it's a burden. Hey, y'all. It's Famira. It's your girl. We're back for another mini episode here. Sorry it is a day or two late, but it is here. So today is not just a vibe check. I really want this to be a wake-up call for every woman who is out there that is still actually building her empire, who is in hustle mode, even if she doesn't want to admit it or not, that's on her grind, right? That is building these dreams, these callings, these revolutions off of adrenaline and aesthetics, right? Instead of taking the time to take a step back and really make sure that you're building it based on alignment and the architecture of your own divine design. Because at the end of the day, your brilliance was never meant to burn you out, right? It was actually meant to build worlds. So you can't get anything done from a place of burnout. You don't need more trends. You need more infrastructure. You don't need necessarily to be more visible. Visibility comes when you actually are being more sovereign inside of your decision making, inside of what you are deciding to show up and do for your business. So on this quick episode here, it is going to be more of an activation, essentially, that we are unpacking. And I want to show you why your brand should actually still be able to breathe, even in those moments where you need to go silent, right? Where it is still working on your behalf while you are getting your rest, right? What does it really mean to build a brand on soul and not on struggle? What does that concept look like? So that's what we'll be exploring this week, especially as we get into the main episode that comes out on Thursday. But, you want to make at least the move to shift from maintaining momentum to actually embodying mastery, right? This isn't about hustle culture. This is sacred strategy. And that's what I want to see more of us as women to really move into, where we are honoring our own cycles, right? There's a reason why we as women get what is known as a cycle. We naturally go through cycles each month. And one of the things that I do when I'm working with my clients, any client that comes to me, is they automatically get this energy tracker, so that they can learn their energy cycles for the month, because we all have pockets of time where we're super low energy and when we're high energy. And the more you can understand your own rhythm and your own cycles and the way in which you flow, the easier it is to then be strategic, then make the plans, so you're not planning things at times where your energy is already very naturally low. Or if you do plan something, you have built in contingency plans to help offset the fact that you're going to probably feel more exhausted than you normally do, right? So at the end of the day, if your brand disappears when you rest, it never was actually rooted in your essence, right? It was built strictly on your energy, and it should be built in your essence and not in your energy. So that way it's able to continue to flow. And, even when you need to be in a place of rest, that is the difference between sustainability and being a slave to your brand and to your business. And we definitely are not trying to do that. So what is the shift that we need to make? You need to move from this action and mindset of being the pack mule for your business where you have to do all the heavy lifting, and if I don't get it done, it will never get done, and I'm a solopreneur, so who else is going to do it, right? All the things that we tell ourselves, and shift the process into more so thinking that you are the midwife of this movement that you were literally created to birth into the world, right? So, yes, midwife, not mule. You want to build from your values and not from vanity metrics. You want to build from your frequency and not just from funnels. You want to build with structures that scale from your spirit, but don't silence your spirit, right? So one of the things I want you to do right now today is to ask yourself, if I deleted my IG, Facebook, TikTok is a big one, right? Any social media platform, and close my laptop for one whole month, would my brand continue to speak, right? Would it continue to speak and continue to show up on my behalf? If the answer is no, then it is time for you to leverage your brilliance. And we can definitely fix that. And there's different ways that you could fix it. And I want you to think about, one of these things that you may want to do even right now inside of your business. And that might be looking at automating one system, right? One of your systems that needs to be automated, something that's going to carry people through your client journey. Maybe you need to set a specific boundary, right? One of the boundaries that I shifted in my business a few years ago, after working with my mentor and coach, I call her the great Kim McCarter, was that I don't work the first week of any month, right? So I don't, and by not work, I mean I don't actively talk to clients during the first week of the month. And because that is my rest time. Every month, first full week of the month, I don't meet with clients. I don't host anything inside of my membership. I try my best to not even host anything front facing, like no type of events or summits or anything like that during that first week. That is a hard boundary for me because it allows me to reset and to get in my creative bag and think about things I want to do moving forward into the future. So that's one. One may be to delegate something that drains your energy, and another thing may be to actually clarify one legacy aligned offer, something that is going to be long term, that is going to fit into the flow of what you're trying to create for the legacy of your brand. And then you just want to simply breathe life into your brand without betraying yourself. You can do that, right? Your legacy isn't built inside of your launch plan. It really is about how are you planning your liberation in the way in which not only yours, but the liberation of those that you are here to serve. So let your brand grow roots, not just reach. Let it echo your name, even when you whisper. And at the end of the day, just you want to think about what you want to be remembered for. And the more you focus on that, then the more it will stand, even when you need to be quiet. So if you are ready to deepen this shift and get into this conversation more, definitely make sure you catch our Thursday episode called Is Your Brand Built to Breathe Without You? We're going to be talking about how you go from performance to presence, from good content to God-coded calling. I'm going to be using my good sis Rihanna as an example of what exactly I am talking about. So I will see you then. Until next time, XOXO Famira. You're listening to XOXO Famira, the podcast for visionaries, truth tellers, and empire builders who are done performing, shrinking, and sleepwalking through their purpose. This is where soul meets strategy, where your brand becomes spiritual technology, and where you finally wake up from your spiritual amnesia and remember who the hell you are. I'm your host, Famira, head dream walker in charge, business oracle, owner, and your brand transformation guide. I am the alchemist. And every